Hey guys, thanks for joining me in the shop today. Rob from Stop Time. Today we're going to talk about Lionel post-war F-3 2240 Wabash. Now when you look at the F-3s, we've talked about, I did something on the Santa Fe's and the New York Centrals. Lionel was going through a transition in the mid-50s where they did things that kind of, I hate the word cheapen them, but they did things that cheapen them. And you'll hear people talk about the screens or the vents. When you look at the top of these F3s, these have the vents. Now the earlier ones, your Santa Fe 2343s and your New York Central 2344s, they actually have a metal screen in there. So that's one way you can tell when they talk about the screens or the vents. Another thing is the one-piece or two-piece horns. These have the one-piece, it's one molded piece, where some of your early examples actually have a two-piece horn, and you can see that there's actually two pieces. These here were actually a single motor unit, okay? So Lionel, again, in the early 50s, late 40s, a lot of them were dual motored and then with magnet traction. Those were, you know, when you run an ABA, Santa Fe or New York Central with the aluminum cars, you need all that power to pull those. So those were dual motored. And then as a cost-cutting method, Lionel started introducing some of the F3s with single motored, and then some like this, some they even considered 027 with single motored. But these are really, this was 1956 only. So this is a 1 year post-war period only F3. Again, single motored. And when you run these, you know, F3s, the single motor versus the dual motor, you know, a lot of people want the dual motor, and I get that if you're pulling a lot of these aluminum cars, but they both have their drawbacks. And one of the positive with the single motor is it doesn't take as much voltage to run them. So when you're running a dual motored F3, I mean, you got to have a lot of power to run them. The single motor obviously doesn't pull as much. So, but you can't pull as you know, as long as the train. So they both have their positives and their negatives. So I'm not, you know, one of those guys that's got to be a dual motor. I think they both have their place. Again, these have your typical F3 issues when you look at these. You know, you want to look at the overall condition, the paint. Again, Lionel post-war was doing some beautiful paint schemes. When you look at the masking and the paint they did on these, they were great. These did take the D-cell battery for the horn. So you want to always check and open that up and check the condition. If the battery's left in, you can have a lot of acid damage in there. So you want to check and make sure that looks clean. And like, you know, you want to, again, check your coupler operation on it. And then obviously, you know, check to make sure your steps are in place. These had the riveted steps in the back. So that's another thing you want to watch for. Again, check your front decal. A lot of times those can be beat up, not just on the Wabashes, but any of them. You want to check the overall condition. A lot of chips can, you know, from them running this stuff, if they were, you know, played with kind of rough, they can be chipped up. So you just want to look at the overall condition of the plastic shell and the cast part of it. Now these also did not have the portholes. And you hear people talk about the portholes. Well, the earlier ones actually had the portholes, and these didn't have the portholes. It's just a pure plastic without drill out or the porthole. So again, the B unit, it has the vents on top, no screens on the Wabash 2240. When you look at these again, just flip them over. You want to look at the cast, the frame of them, the steps, the paint, the screw holes on each side. Make sure they're in nice shape and there's no cracks. So you can look at that, and just again the overall condition. So these were classic Lionel. They're kind of harder to find. They're not as common as your Santa Fe's, your New York Centrals, or even your Texas Special. They're probably in the next grouping of hard to find stuff. So hey, I hope you got some information. The F3s are great. They're really a classic piece, and they're beautiful. They did some really nice paint schemes on them and some nice road names. So if you're ever in Akron, Ohio, look me up. I'm Rob from Stop Time. I'm 15 to 20 minutes to the west of Akron. I'm a Lionel value-added dealer. I have a retail shop, and I'll give you my phone number. You can call me for hours or stop in. It's 330-825-4206. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like listening to the Lionel, you want to hear about Lionel, that's what this channel is going to be all about. Lionel and classic toy trains. Happy model railroading, guys. And don't forget, Lionel's investment in happiness. Thanks.